Welcome to Kit Guru Tech. I'm Dale, also known as Schnitz, and this is the Asus Zenbook 3 Navy version. It's the i7-7500U with 16GB of RAM. It has a 512GB NVMe, which is a M.2 drive, which is direct onto the board itself. Taking the back panel off at the bottom, you can't remove the battery with ease, so if it reduces battery life at any certain point, I wouldn't recommend changing it yourself unless you're competent or confident doing that sort of thing. Moving on to the use of it, the spacing between the keys goes quite well. Chubby fingers, remember. Going through this, as I can see, it's got Windows 10 Home on, even though they recommend you use Windows 10 Pro, which is quite a weird thing when I read in the spec sheet. But moving on. It just has a VGA webcam, and the quality of the webcam isn't 100%, but it's like this. So you should be, you see me there, you see me. Yeah, that was before I had my haircut. Obviously, if you take a look at the keypad down here, it does have a fingerprint touch sensor for logging in. You can set that, so security settings are on the max. Little issues I have with it, just to move on, is when it's closed like that, it looks very slim. It's got a 15.2 inch display, which is 1080p, and it runs on integrated graphics by Intel. It doesn't have a graphics card on there, so obviously you're not going to be gaming anytime soon. And if you do manage to game on there, tell me how! This is obviously for the user who's going to be doing general browsing on the internet and tasks like transferring and maybe a bit of photo editing, so on and so forth, because it does have the i7 CPU in there. Take a breath. Right, I'm going to go through a couple of issues I had with it. Obviously I keep staring at it and then staring back to the camera and doing this. But and issues I have, because I do have chubby style fingers, like I say, this little lid here, it does have like a little perforated edge sort of a thing where I can like get my finger in and lift. But on the odd occasion, if I'm in a bit of a rush, I do end up lifting the whole thing up, which is impractical for me. The front of it, as you can see here, it's got boom, 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 boom. I've wiped this down. I've actually wiped this down before the review, but as you can see, I call it Fingerprint Central. It has like a circular aluminium brush effect, which, you know, it looks fantastic. It does the part, does so on and so forth, but I like to retain quality when I buy things. So I don't like buying things and then after like a couple of days of using them, they make them look like they've been used. I tend to like to take care of my stuff, as most people should. If you don't, then YOLO. So here we go. So I'm going to do this. Ooh, chubby fingers for the win. That did that. And it powers on, as you can see. There we go. So it does have a white LED backlit keyboard, which took me about 20 minutes to figure out because I like to play before I read the specification. And I was like, woo, what's this button do? And I clicked it and it went bum, 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 which was very nice. I don't know why I do these noises, it's very confusing. Let's go to external ports. So on the right side of it, it just has an auxiliary port for headphones, or I assume you could probably put a microphone in there if it works on the same interface. And on the following side, it has a USB-C. This is used for charging and data transfer, but it does have a universal dock that you have to purchase, right? So I was in discussion with Asus, and it seems a bit crazy, but there's an i5 version of this with the 7200U, which comes with a universal dock, which allows you to use USB-A 2.0, USB-A 3.0 speed, which is quite fast, HDMI, and so many different ports for data transfer. It also has an SD card reader on it. Obviously, you have the dock and it comes through, but for some reason, with my sample box, and so I believe, unless it's region specific, you don't get a universal dock with the i7 version. So you're paying about 1500 GBP, Great British Pounds, and you're expecting to be able to grab your USB stick and go, ooh, I'll transfer some photos. What's going on? So you've sort of got to go out and find, see if they've got a USB memory stick or a data transfer stick, which is USB-C, which is going to cost you a bit extra money. So, like I say, they do offer the feature to buy. a universal dock, but there's 3 separate docks. I think the mini dock, which comes with the i5, is actually $49.99, whereas the large dock, which is probably the one you're going to be most suited for with the i7, you can use the mini dock. You see no issue with that. You use the USB A port. It's about £99. So this was a massive shock to me, massive, as you can see. This face. I would have thought it would have come with both kits, because seeing as it's the i7 kit, you think they'd go, oh, I tell you what, we'll just chuck that in there, save all complications. Turns out that's not the case. So if you are going to be getting this, although it's a snazzy look, and we'll get on to how it handled and so on and so forth during benching and general use, you're going to be using cloud storage. On that note, they do offer cloud storage in here, I think, bear with me. They offer a software application which you get a certain amount of cloud storage to do whatever you need to do. Just let me sign in. Oh god, I thought enter it'll work, it didn't. Which is called WebStorage. There we go, Asus WebStorage. So there's that. On another note, the Zenbook itself only weighs about 900 grams, so it's not even a kilogram. Obviously, you're going to be shipping that round and moving that around in your backpack and so on and so forth. With a power pack, it's quite small as well, as you can imagine. It takes about 48 minutes to 50 minutes to charge from a flat battery to full, and that drains in about, realistically, 6 to 8 hours use. On benching, I think it'll prove to last not as long as most of them do. I'm estimating about 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. Obviously, if we go to different parts of the laptop itself, the Zenbook device, it does have 2 speakers on the top, and it has outlets in the bottom for heat, where obviously it's fanless. Well, it's not fanless, sorry. Obviously it's thin enough to be fanless, but it's not. It's got a single fan in there which does disperse the heat. For what it is, quite well actually. I had it on my lap for about an hour and 40 minutes, and it didn't stress me out too much. It felt a little bit uncomfortable, like most laptops do after that time period. Obviously, it's not a massive issue though. Like I say, it's the only issue I have is the USB-C port and the little fingerprint, the bob. I'll put it through Cinebench and so on and so forth. That's the rundown of what I think of it so far. There isn't really much else to say about it. Obviously you can see the written review at KitGuru Tech, so it's kitguru.net. If you want to go over it, should be in the description below. And see the written review, you can see what little snazzy little things I come across and so on and so forth. If you haven't already, please subscribe and then let us know what you think. Other than that, this has been the Asus Zenbook 3. I've been Schnitz. See you later. Love you. Goodbye.